Hey, Seattle hockey fans, Eric Lindsay Ayala here, coming to you live from the men's FrozenFour. Now, here's a little fun fact. I flew into Boston today. I'm at TD Garden right now. But where did I fly through? Where was my connection? Because no direct flights in Tulsa, Oklahoma. St. Louis, baby. It's a Seattle Kraken game day. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Matty Beniers and get you ready for the game tonight and for the game tomorrow. All that coming up on Locked On Kraken.
You are Locked On Kraken, your daily podcast on the Seattle Kraken, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
We are the Seattle Kraken.
Hey again there, Seattle hockey fans. I'm your host, Eric Lindsay Ayala, coming to you with another episode of Locked On Kraken. Now, I suppose it was for yesterday's episode, you heard me speaking with Jay, and we were giving you a preview of Denver versus Michigan. I'm here right now in Boston. I've got little nuggets for you about the men's FrozenFour, including an exclusive interview with Matty Beniers. He did not hit the dais, but I caught him in the hallway right here at TD Bank in a city that he's pretty familiar with. But we'll get to that because, as I mentioned in the open, it is a Seattle Kraken game day. The Seattle Kraken are taking on the St. Louis Blues. I was in St. Louis earlier today. It's kind of wild, all these different time zones and being able to travel. Now, the last time these two teams played was January 21st. That was a 5-0 win in favor of St. Louis. It was a 2-1 win earlier that very same month, January 13th, also in favor of St. Louis. That was a 2-1 win for St. Louis. And Dave Haxtell knows that this is an offense that can really light things up. Who are we going to see in net? Who's your goalie? It's Driedger. We've got Chris Driedger in net. Looking at his numbers again, he's got a 7-10-1 record, a 3.05 goals against average, and a .898 save percentage. It's just 10 percentage points ahead of Philip Grubauer, Husso, and Binnington. Husso with a 26-5 record on the side of St. Louis. Goals against average 2.41 and a .923 save percentage. Here's how the teams match up. Let me pop up the stats and facts that we have over on NHL.com for you so we can go over the numbers. All right. So, again, I showed you what the last few games looked like. When it comes to the power play, third overall power play for the St. Louis Blues, we're knocking at that bottom bank, baby, at 14.7% as the Seattle Kraken. 6th overall in the penalty kill for the Seattle Kraken. 28th overall, for the St. Louis Blues. 28th overall for the Seattle Kraken. Then goals for, goals against. We see also all of that in favor of St. Louis. Their record overall 39-20-10. In their last 10, they're 5-3-2 with a 2-game win streak. 5-4-1 for the Seattle Kraken. So not too bad. Relatively even split there. Obviously, though, favoring the Blues. We're on a 1-game win streak. Driedger in net again. Something that Dave Haxtell said that I really liked is he said that since the trade deadline, the focus has been on energy. Energy. I've told you all season, Driedger has better energy for my money than Grubauer. In net, I also hope this means we see more Donato, but there's some other additions. So I'm going to take you over to Dave Haxtell so he can talk to you about Cale Fleury in particular, and again, what he's seen from Cale throughout the season, including in Charlotte, and how he plans to deploy some of the roster tonight.
When you think about the level of fight you have seen from your team in the last couple of weeks, how do you think that matches up against the fight from the opponent you'll see tonight battling for a playoff spot?
Well, this is arguably the deepest team in the National Hockey League. If you look at their group of forwards, they've got all their top 9 forwards. Every one of them has 41 plus points. Everyone has 15 goals plus. So the depth of their team is impressive, and it doesn't stop there on their back end. They're a good, sound, solid team. So, the mindset and competitiveness of our group tonight is going to be really important through 60 minutes. There's going to be, different momentum swings. We got to make sure that, any of the negative swings are short-lived and we go back and push the next shift. And are just, as I said, just ready to be real competitive, shift in and shift out.
Dave, I know you don't talk about the other team much, but in terms of matchups, when you have that deep of the lineup over there, do you worry a little less about who's matched up with who?
Yeah, we're going to roll. That's been our best formula here over the last couple of weeks since the trade deadline. Our greatest focus is, number one is energy and having everybody going. And as we get through a game, really, read who's going a little bit better than the others. And, that group or two gets a little bit extra and the other guys get a little bit less. So that's been our formula. That won't change tonight, especially being on the road where, we control less of the matchups.
What did you hear about Cale Fleury down in the minors, just specifically about his minor league season?
He's had an excellent year there. I believe it followed up right from his, the couple games that he played with us here when we were out on our Eastern road trip. He played some good hockey for us there. He did a real nice job in the back-to-back games. He's continued that in Charlotte. He's been part of, a good run to get into a good solid playoff position there. And he's been one of the top defensemen there. So he's done all the things that, that have been asked of him. And he's really earned this opportunity. He's not here on a free look. He's earned the opportunity to be here and to get into games for us here.
And what were some of the things you asked him to work on? Sorry if you covered that yesterday.
Not necessarily. There was no specifics really for him to work on. When he played, the two games, we really liked his poise. His movement with the puck was outstanding. The game was not too fast for him. So we just want him to go back and continue doing those simple things. Defending well, being efficient with the puck, getting it out of the zone, finding good outlets. And then, joining and adding a little bit of offense. We're not going to ask them to add a ton of offense here, but defend and be efficient in getting us out of our own zone. And, those are going to be things. You look at the team that we're playing against tonight. Those are challenges. This is a team that's heavy on the forecheck. They got a bunch of guys that are veteran players with good sticks. So he's going to be stressed in that area, and this will be a great challenge for him and a great opportunity for him.
So it's Cale Fleury going in there. You heard Dave again say just has been solid. This is not like a let's look and see. It's an earned call up for him. So congrats to Cale Fleury. Pouliot will be the odd man out, as we heard as we heard Haxtell say. Drieger will be in net. Okay. So I'm going to keep this pretty lean because, there's a lot going on, baby. Tomorrow, on tomorrow's show, pre-recorded, all good, we're going to have another roundtable. We already talked yesterday with Jay from Locked on Blue Jackets. We talked about Denver kind of and Michigan. We talked about Michigan in a big way. Well, tomorrow we're going to learn a little bit more about Minnesota State versus Minnesota. And we're going to have Sarah Avampato from Locked on Kings. We're going to have Jason Hernandez from Locked on Ducks and a very special guest, someone near and dear to me, the one and only Kelly Schultz, who calls Premier Hockey Federation games alongside me, or I should say I call Premier Hockey Federation games alongside her, but also the radio voice of the Bemidji State women's ice hockey team. So we're going to get you ready. This was an energetic roundtable or square table, virtual square table, and I hope you like it. I hope you enjoy. So that's what you're going to get tomorrow. If you want my post-game reactions, that's going to be on social media, so make sure you're following me on social. Oh, let me pop it up here. Follow me on social, but also make sure that you're following the show at Locked on Kraken. That's where you're going to get my thoughts on the game. But coming up next, let's hear from the guy himself, Matty Beniers. I'm going to take you to an exclusive interview that I had with Matty Beniers, and we'll close out the show giving a little bit more context to this Denver Denver Michigan matchup. Very evenly matched. You're going to hear Matty Beniers say that, and I'm going to take you to the press conference so you can hear a little bit more from the folks that are hitting the ice tomorrow right here, TD Garden, Boston, Massachusetts. BetOnline.net is your number one source for all your betting needs and sports info. Find all the latest sports developments, including this week's Masters Championships odds, podcasts, and reviews for all of the different leagues this season. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sports wagering information, including live betting, esports, and scores. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action. BetOnline, where the game starts. Okay, from the 2021 draft to Michigan to the Olympics to now the men's Frozen Four. Is there any other Seattle Kraken podcast that has had this much engagement with the one, the only Matty Beniers? I don't know. Okay, I literally don't know. I'm not trying to throw any shade, but again, I tell you, I think the Seattle Kraken beat is amazing. So make sure you're listening to all of it. Sound of Hockey, Emerald City Hockey, Seattle Kraken Online. Andy Ides doing an amazing job. We've got Allison Lucan, Analytics with Allison. I mean, Everett. We've got John. We've got JT. How lucky are we? So I know I sounded like I was throwing a little bit of shade. I'm not throwing any shade. I am, though, very proud that I have the opportunity to speak to Matty Beniers so much, including on today's show. I got audio only, so you're gonna just see a few still shots, picture overlays, of Matty Beniers. But he's a Massachusetts boy. Did you know that? You probably knew that. Was committed to Harvard. Then that whole COVID thing happened. Ivy League did not play, and so that's how he ends up in Michigan. That's how he ends up in a national championship, or I should say, that's how he ends up in a Frozen Four. Let me not get ahead of myself. We got a little work to do still. And the Denver team is not to be trifled with. We're going to hear a little bit more about that in the next segment, but has an opportunity to play in the men's Frozen Four in his home state. Here's what Matty Beniers told me and told us at Locked On Kraken exclusively earlier today in TD Garden.
Yeah, a ton. Both my parents, both my mom and dad's side. My dad's side all lives in Quincy and like Braintree, all in and around the South Shore. And then my mom's side's mainly in Jersey, so they're all coming in. So it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, indeed. And so I remember at the draft, we had a chance to talk to you via Zoom, everyone from the Kraken contingency. And, one of the things that you sounded like you were kind of trying to figure out is what you were going to do. And it sounded like the big pull was coming back to Michigan and getting right where you are right now. So can you just reflect on that decision and if how it's worked out for you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really happy with my decision. I don't think it was too hard. I love Michigan. I wanted to get another year of my education done. But more importantly, I love just my teammates, the team that we had playing for Michigan. Wasn't able to play with fans. This year we were, and it's been awesome. And we had a really good team, so we had a chance to get here. And this has been awesome. It's kind of been a dream come true, being able to, play in the Frozen Four, 1, but 2 in front of your family in your hometown, kind of where you grew up playing, so it's a pretty special weekend.
Yeah, I can imagine, and I think it's been a pretty special season. I mean, this Michigan team, a lot of eyes on this team. You're going up against a Denver team that also is number 1 coming into this tournament. How do you think you match up?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're a very similar team, almost the same. We kind of have the same structure. We both play the same. Both have a lot of skill, speed. We play an offensive game. Just like they do. So I think we're going to match up good. I think, what's going to determine the game is who's more determined on defense or dedicated to it and who limits their turnovers. So it's going to be a good game.
Yeah, and I think also a lot of people are going to keep an eye on net. I think you got 2 pretty good netminders going up against each other. I mean, I'm sure that fits into defense, but how do you like your odds there?
Yeah, definitely. I know they have a good goalie. From personal experience, obviously, I think Eric's, one of the best goalies in college hockey. He saves our team's butts a couple times, not a couple, a lot of times. But he's pretty flashy for a goalie. I think he makes the breakaway saves, makes the 2-on-1 saves, kind of makes every save. But those are kind of the chances that we tend to give up, and he makes them for us. So it's been great to have him all year, and he's been kind of a rock back there.
All right, well, Matty, congratulations on getting this far. Best of luck, and hopefully I'll get a chance to talk to you again.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, take care. Matty is always so much fun to talk to, and we're going to hear a little bit more about that. I know I spoke with Jay, I think we spoke with Jay about it, and I know for sure we mentioned it on the roundtable. There's a lot of spice on that roundtable. You're not gonna want to miss it. I might have to drop a little bonus because it's definitely longer than our 30-minute show, but I'll try to drop a little bit of the cutting room floor, or of the edits from the cutting room floor for you, because we just had so much fun. Anyway, I spoke about he's a sweet guy. Matty has always been the nicest person to interview. Sweet guy, really just seems like he's having a blast. He loves hockey. He loves Michigan. He even is enjoying school. He talked about that, as you heard, about getting another year in was extremely important to him. I love it. I love getting to watch this young guy grow up. I'm so thankful that folks like you listening or watching on YouTube, you make it possible for me to travel in part to see Matty Beniers. And of course, I bring all of that over to Locked on Kraken. So make sure you follow the show. Make sure you're listening to the show. Make sure you follow me because, again, we'll have some extra nuggets for you on social media because tomorrow's going to be a whirlwind. I already have a show prepped and ready to go for you. So you're not going to want to miss that. It's the second semifinal against Minnesota State that we're previewing. Coming up next, I'm going to take you over to the press conference. We're going to focus on Denver, Michigan for the purposes of this episode because, again, we're going to talk about our guy, Matty Beniers, but I also want you to get to know this Denver team. I talked about it with Jay, talked about it a little bit on the round table or the square table that you'll see tomorrow. But these two teams are very evenly matched. You already heard Matty talk about it, and I want you to hear some of the other guys from Michigan talking about it as well, including Eric Portillo. Let's go. This is going to be a goalie matchup, folks. And so I asked some of the players today about that. That's what's coming up next on Locked on Kraken. All right, hockey fans. It's a Seattle Kraken game day. I'm not going to hold you too long. Let's, though, take you to some more college hockey. Again, taking you to first the Denver press conference, hear a little bit of clips, and then over to Michigan. And then we'll close out the show because we have got a Seattle Kraken team to root for as they are on the road against St. Louis. I can't believe I literally touched down in St. Louis earlier today. There's just so many overlaps. I'm so blessed. I'm so happy. I'm so glad that you're here and that you're making Locked on Kraken a part of your listen every single day. It's amazing. So, all right. Remember, though, also, you've got the Locked On Now show that you can listen to. That's accumulation of people like me, experts. When we give our little quick hits on social media, we put them all together on a show with a little bit of commentary, and that is Locked On Now, so you don't miss anything. So make sure you check out Locked On Now. And, okay, Denver first, then Michigan.
All right. Hi, David.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
All right, the head coach of the Pioneers, David Carl.
Looking forward to getting after it tomorrow. Be a very entertaining, I would assume, hockey game against us in Michigan. Two very storied programs, as Dave said, with a lot of history. So we're looking forward to getting after it tomorrow.
Ryan Zook with them live. This is for any of the players. What challenges does Michigan present for you guys?
Justin, start with you.
I think their offensive skill. They're very offensive minded, and I think that's gonna be a challenge for us. And I think we're ready for it.
Cole.
Yeah, obviously they got a lot of top end players, a lot of high draft picks. So they're a very skilled team. So we're gonna have to be very defensive sound, and but I think we're a skilled team too. So we can go back at them in the same way they're going to come at us. So we're going to have to play full 60 like we've been doing in playoff hockey.
Okay, Bobby, anything else to add there?
Just the same what those two said. Obviously, they're a skilled team that likes to produce offense. I think that to combat that, we just got to be hard defensively and play within our structure, and I think we'll be successful.
Chelsea McDonald with 7 News in Boston. Coach, just for Johnny and Matty, have you talked to them? What does it mean for them to be able to be playing here at TD Garden?
Thank you for the question. They're both extremely excited. Matty, obviously, I think he told me he was up to, he only could get 17 tickets from our allotment, so he needed a lot more. But, being a Boston kid and the only young man we have from this area, he's really excited. I know his family is too, and he's looking forward to it. And he's the guy, the extra pressure, of being home won't affect him. He's just a player. Beecher's excited. Like these guys had said, I think they've been bugging him all week about letting him pick out the first stall when we get in the locker room there. So, but Johnny's had a really good year for us. He's injured the first part, but he's really come on, and he really adds a lot to our team, and has really accepted his role and thrived on it. But he's a good player. He's got a bright future, and I know he's so fired up to be here. So we've got a lot of pictures with him in the locker room already. So. Thanks for the question.
Michigan is the top seed, and they do have the Bruins locker room, in case you're not aware.
Veena Shah, College Hockey News. Mel, this is for you. Have you figured out how to solve the third period problem yet?
You might want to ask these guys. I mean,
no issue.
No issue. We had our longest video session I can remember in my 40 years. I think it was on Tuesday. It wasn't the most pleasant video. I'm usually real positive with our players, but you just can't sweep it under the rug. You have to address it, and I appreciate the question. And sometimes you get comfortable when you have a lead, but the things that happen in those games were very fixable. So as a coach, you're a little concerned, but not overly. And we talked about a lot. We drilled a few things. So I would love to have a 4-0 lead going in the third period tomorrow. Thank you.
Guys, what about the third period? What did you call it, Josephine? The third period problem. Anything on that?
Yeah, I think anybody who watched our game against Quinnipiac, it was pretty evident that they came out flying in the third period, and there were definitely some changes we needed to make to our game. And like Mel said, we had a lot of video sessions, a lot of on-ice walkthroughs, a lot of work that we were putting in this last week to improve, and I think we got it all figured out.
Eric Ayala with Locked On Podcast Network. Jimmy, I want to come to you for this one. You heard Coach talk a little bit earlier about an exciting type of hockey and playing maybe akin to some of those 1980s Oilers teams, but what do we know about those teams? Like Grant Fuhr was there holding them down in net. Can you talk a little bit about Eric and this goaltending battle that we're going to see?
Yeah, Eric's amazing in net. It gives us forwards and our offensive players a lot more confidence knowing that you have a guy like that backing you up. If you make a mistake, he's there to have your back, and he's done that all year long. We have our coaching staff is pretty high on the statistics and keeping track of the numbers. And I think one day we sat down and had a meeting, and our coach Brendan Nerado said that if we didn't have Eric Portillo in this game, we would have got our rear ends handed to us. So it just goes to show how much he means to the team. He is our most valuable player, and he probably will be this weekend. And we need him just like we need every other guy. So he'll be ready, and so will we.
With the ever-increasing amount of makes and models, it's almost impossible to find everything that you need for your auto. It's almost impossible to find everything that you need for your vehicle in one brick and mortar store. But don't worry, rockauto.com is your solution. You can have everything that you need, including brake parts, tail lamps, motor oil, and even new carpet right at the rockauto.com website. And it's easy to use, it's easy to explore, and easy to find all of your auto solutions. So go to rockauto.com right now and see all the parts available for your car or your truck. And when you type Locked On in their How Did You Hear About Us box, that's how they'll know we sent you. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need. rockauto.com. Can't say it enough, folks. Thank you so much for making Locked On Kraken one of your listens of the day. I'm your host, Erica Lindsay Ayala. And now that you've made us your first listen and you're getting ready for the puck drop on game day, I can't get too loud. This is a public space. But it's game day. It's a Seattle Kraken game day at St. Louis. make sure you also listen to Locked On Fantasy Hockey. I've told you horror stories about my fantasy hockey experience on the men's side. I actually did very well in the NWHL Fantasy League a few years ago. Thank you very much. I did more than very well. I actually won the league. Thank you very much. Anyway, not so much on the men's side, but that's why you listen to Locked On Fantasy Hockey. They're going to make you the expert in your fantasy league. And just like Locked On Kraken and anything else on the Locked On Network, it's absolutely free. We're all integrated on YouTube, or most everyone integrated on YouTube. Free for you to listen anywhere you listen to podcasts. All right, folks, you know what to do tonight. Hold fast, stay true, and let's go Kraken! And actually, I think I left a Seattle Kraken hat here last time I was in Boston, so I'm going to go see if the hotel held on to that. It's a hot commodity, but here's hoping, fingers crossed, that I get my Seattle Kraken hat back. If not, I guess I'll just have to buy another one. Check out social media. Make sure you're following me because I will be keeping up with Matty Beniers and Michigan at the men's Frozen Four. See you tomorrow. Remember, though, it's a pre-recorded show, but that will be up for you tomorrow. And then the puck drops on the men's Frozen Four at TD Garden, and your girl Erica will be there. Hold fast, stay true. Let's go Kraken tonight. We'll talk about it later on tonight on social media, and then it's all college hockey, baby, tomorrow.